Welcome to the Struggle Bubble. That was new this week, Craig. I'm Chad Cutting.
And I'm Craig Sergi.
And we're back with another episode of the Struggle Bubble. Last week, if you haven't tuned in, Heath Clark dropping absolute knowledge for all of us as a dad, as a coach, as a parent. Go check it out on last week's. This week, no guest. There are a lot of busy people in the world, but we'll get back on that in the coming weeks. So it's just Craig and I.
Well, and the guest we are going to have on in the future, who's going to come on today, is at a youth sporting event. And here we are. Surprise, surprise.
Well, both of us have a fun weekend planned. So let's just talk about that a little bit, because I think living in the struggle bubble, I'm going to go first because we are currently packing to go to Davis, California, to participate in a soccer tournament for the 2015s. Tomorrow's also opening day for baseball. So in the last 5 years, I wouldn't have been able to miss opening day as president of the Little League. This year, I'm headed out to Davis tonight. We'll spend the night. She plays the first game tomorrow morning, and then not again until
kickoff?
1. Kickoff's, I think, 8:30 a.m.
Oof. Okay.
And then her second game will be around 1 o'clock. Game's about an hour. Theo's baseball game isn't until 5 o'clock. So I think I can check all the boxes and go to Davis, 2 soccer games, 2 hours home, baseball game to round it out. You think I'll make it?
That's a long Saturday. I mean, hopefully the travel gods give you some leeway. I mean, nobody's coming back from Tahoe, so fingers crossed.
Don't put that out into the ether. I mean, maybe we're going to be attacked by drones. Who knows?
I mean, it could be. I don't really read the news, but that could be it. Yeah, that's a long weekend, and gas at $5.40. You are, look at you in a Tesla. Yeah, that's a weekend, dude. Davis. Okay, multiple question marks around why we need to drive a long way for tournaments at this age, but it is what it is. Opening weekend will be awesome. It's cool.
It's always a lot of fun bringing the community together and hang out for the weekend or the day, and hopefully I think good weather planned for tomorrow, which is great. But let's talk about that for a second, Craig, on traveling 2 hours for a soccer tournament and trying to breathe in, right, everything that we preach of just be in the moment and enjoy that. But why do we schedule soccer tournaments? Put that coaching hat on of yours, 2 hours away to play teams that we can play 5 minutes away.
3 answers. I'll give you 3. I'll give you one from a director, I'll give you one from a coach, and I'll give you one from an industry. One from the industry is cost and field locations. Generally, if you're running a tournament and you are expecting X amount of teams, fields are an absolute nightmare, as you know, right? We have to share with baseball or lacrosse or whatever. So that's always been the issue, right? When you do a big tournament, you are generally going to be at Morgan Hill or somewhere like that, so you can get everybody at the same location at the same time. From a director standpoint, basically the industry has got to that point where you need to have 2 or 3 tournaments a year for the team and the club to feel accomplished, or other clubs in the area are doing the same. So if you're not keeping up with the Joneses, you're potentially losing players. So that's part of the action point as well. And then from the coach standpoint, it kind of relates to that as well. Like, I have to do X amount of, there's a guaranteed 1 tournament a season, and maybe State Cup's it or a different one, but that's what we're committing to for this team. Again, for me, it's a pill to swallow because depending on the age, right, these kids are young enough where they can bounce back. But I had a conversation actually earlier today. This is where players start hating the game. In my opinion, and there's a great post I got from somebody this week as well. Why is my kid not developing? Well, reality is there was 4 or 5 kids on that team of 9, if you're doing 9v9, that the coach thinks plays the way that their style wants to be. So the remaining 4 are just gap fillers. And it could be, you could call them 1, 2, 3, 4 and change them out with 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's part of that. And again, the coaches are unfortunately positioned that we have to play a certain amount of tournaments and do certain things. And it kind of all just falls into this pool of, as I said, keeping up with the Joneses. And it's a struggle as a coach as well, because all I really want to do is I just want to coach the kids to get better. The winning and the losing, again, shouldn't be a conversation at a certain age point.
Are games necessary for 10-year-old kids?
classify a game? Are you talking winning, losing,
Keeping
playing against
score,
the
playing. Let's simplify it. Let's use a tournament. You mentioned we have to get 2 to 3 tournaments in. It's part of the competitive cycle. Why is it part of the competitive cycle?
Because everybody wants to compare themselves. You've got social media saying we're the number one in the nation. Then you have different leagues saying, well, we're the best league compared to somebody else. And it's just all about comparison. That's the basis of it. And at some point, yeah, that does come into contention. 10 years old, my opinion, not really. I think if you're doing skill development and you are playing, right, be that internal scrimmage, be that whatever, you're fine. I say in Europe, some countries play 4v4 until they're 10.
I don't know if it was a blog post or an Instagram video that came across to say kids don't remember the games themselves right at this stage. When you're older, absolutely. And I mean, coming out of my mouth, which I was super competitive, our grade school got rid of A team and B team and made the teams more equitable. And I was like, this is stupid. We should have the best of the best playing against the best of the best. But you try and peel that back a bit of why. So you put all of this pressure on the game themselves, right? What's the first question we ask a kid? Oh, you played this weekend? Oh, did you win? It's like the default tip of our tongue, no matter what happens. And we're trying to train ourselves away from that, but that's what we want to know. So the kid says, all right, it's only important if I won or lost. I didn't win. So then your second question is, well, how did you play? Well, I've already answered that we lost. If I say I played well, that doesn't make sense. I don't want to say I played poor. So the kid kind of just shuts down and doesn't want to talk about it. So you think about the evolution of it, if the game is about measurement of progress, which you kind of alluded to, of I want to see if the team is stepping up. You kind of get that a little bit, but at what point is too many games defeating the purpose of developing the kids? Because we just talked all last week or last episode about it's the process and the journey. It's the grit and the grind. You can get all of that without playing a game. Now, put it as a measuring stick. You went against this team. But when I look at these tournaments, which are haphazard at best for consistency of talent, we attend a Davis tournament this week. You could have all elite teams and you lose 3 games by a combined 10 goal differential. You come home, you're like, we're the worst team in the tournament.
Yeah.
You go to the very same location next week. You play copper level teams. And you're like, we're the best team ever. We've won this tournament. But really, the evaluation bar is completely different.
Yeah. And it's very strange, and I'll probably piss off quite a few Americans listening. I'd say it's 2 ways. We don't do this in football, right? We play flag. That's now getting super competitive at 7 years old, which is insane. But prior to that, football didn't really engage until you were in high school. You'd already gone through growth or starting to grow. Freshmen never played varsity unless they were exceptional or certain positions. So for some reason in this country, we decided that we should go from 6, 7, and 8 and be competitive, which is mind blowing to me. Basketball, the same kind of thing. It doesn't really get competitive. I mean, my kids obviously didn't play. What's it? The junior JB, the basketball, junior basketball league, whatever it is. But it seems like they don't really count score that much because not every kid can throw the ball up in the air to get it in a basket, right? It is competitive. It's just a game, right? It's a scrimmagey kind of game. So I don't know why in the soccer world we instantly went to competitive levels at 7 and 8 years old. It's still mind-blowing to me. It makes no sense. And then if you look on the world stage, this has done nothing for American soccer, right? They've not won the World Cup. Obviously qualified for the World Cup this time because it's hosted here. American players in Europe for sure, but a lot of them went to the academy platform when they were 14, 15, 16 in general. And obviously England's not won since 66 either, but they built the best league in the world where everybody goes and plays at, right? And I have a friend whose kid just signed for Aston Villa. He's 8. I said, what's it like? He's like, it's great. I drop him off. Professional coaching. They're called the shadow team. So there's no emphasis around going pro or anything like that. You're just playing with kids at the same level as you in a controlled environment. I said, what's it like for you on the sidelines? He's like, sidelines, we don't enter training grounds. We drop the kids off and go. And I've said this multiple times. In Europe, it's totally different. If a parent starts barking about the coach or about how their kid's playing, the kid's exited from the club. They're not going to deal with that in that environment. And then when you're 16, you're a pro, right? You're signed your YT forms. Then you're classed as a pro, which again, we miss it. We're now pushing these 16-year-olds for D1 or GoPro or whatever. And the pressure and games that they're in, it is so wrong. They can't, they're lost in the game. And you've seen the high school team, the Lisa and I coach, those kids that were going to go D1 were going to go D1. Doesn't matter what logo they wear on their shirt. They were going to get seen. Right. So I look at it from a full complex now of, I could have coached my kids from, and even Shawnee talks about this, Shakiris. Nico didn't play comp until he was 10 or 12. And I know Kai didn't play, and she took a couple of years out.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like the environment you put them in is going to express it through. So driving to Davis for a 10-year-old to play copper division or bronze or gold or whatever, it doesn't matter, to potentially get your ass kicked, to feel like crap. And then everybody goes, how did he go this weekend? I went, terrible. I'm a terrible player. I don't know if I want it. Like, dude, what are we doing? Like, you don't need to drive to Davis for that shit.
No. Well, we'll see how it goes. I think using it more as like a mini vacation, just mentally putting it in a different light, right? It's not about a soccer tournament. And it's really weird, again, to hear myself say that, because before it's, all right, are we prepared to go to the tournament? We're going to have a great showing. But as we unpeel the onion here and see exactly what are we trying to achieve, if our kids go out there and compete and give it their all, especially in soccer right now, right? Lex has played defense. She's been determined she's a defensive person when she was 6 years old, and that's the position that she plays. She doesn't have anything to do, with putting the ball in the goal, but she can do her own position. So like success for her isn't the final score. It's, was she able to defend, her position man on and get the ball out and up into a scoring position for her other teammates, and helping her kind of identify what she can control versus what she can't control has been very helpful for that progress, right? You don't need to be worried about what is not right there in front of you. Play the structure, play the form, build it out the right way, but
score's irrelevant.
Have the right mindset of what you're trying to get out of this weekend. And honestly, what she's most excited about is she gets mom and dad at a hotel by herself, away from her siblings. She will go to team dinner. She will go to the lunch. She'll get the sweatshirt. That's what she talks about and holds on to. So when we see the parents lined up on the sidelines, screaming their heads off and worried about that final score and having the angst, it's like just refocusing the energy on what matters in that moment, which is just really just being there. Like, that's all you need to do is show up. You're there, win, lose, draw, in support. And I think that's more of what they're going to remember than the final score.
I think I said it last week, winning CCS for our high school girls, they'll remember that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
The other stuff
two different
may
spots,
or may not, right?
But that's, and I think it's important to talk about. I am not anti-competitive. I like keeping score in everything that I do. It just makes the moment more fun. But when I reflect, playing pickup basketball or tennis, or like, you take a step back. Am I really upset about the score right now?
Yeah.
And getting the right thing out of it and being present. But I just want to. I think there's a comparison and competitive aspect for us as parents that's coming out in all of this.
Oh,
so
dude, it's all the time. It's all the fucking time.
There's a, for baseball's all-star mentality, I think, in dance there's a solo mentality. Is my daughter competing in the right spot? Is she getting the opportunity? And looking left and right, and then I've witnessed, you're comparing 10-year-old versus 10-year-old. 13-year-old versus 13-year-old and pitting everybody against one another for what reason? And we've gotten into this comparison culture, and we had Callie on early, right? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Just being able to reset. Your kid does not need to be an all-star. Your kid does not need to be the one having the solo every weekend. Your kid needs to be happy and in a place where they can try new things.
Well, and we talk about this all the time, right? If you're not happy, you're not going to give it your all. Simple as that. The environment is so critical for success. And if that environment is tarnished or bad, there's absolutely no chance of success. 0%, right? And I talk about dance a lot. I actually spoke to Brett about it this week. I'm like, it's a pretty tough situation being between the ages of 6 and 18 and be a soloist and have 4 people judge you. And that's it. You got 90 seconds to perform. Like, that's pretty tough you could have messed up. The psychological aspects of it are so difficult. And I was like, what do you prefer? They're like, oh, the conventions are the best because we get time with a coach. We get time to perform. We get call outs like, hey, number 7, 15, whatever. You guys come together. You did a great job. Show us this routine again and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and the hype of the room is different, right? It's like, again, multiple environments, right? If the coach is engaged and intense and want the best from you and pushes you and congratulates you, totally different dancer comes out. When you're on the stage and 4 people are watching you and there's 200 people in the crowd and there's parents, as in any sport, like, my kid's got to get number 1. My kid's got to get number 1. Like, she's come all this way. And I'm like, all right, like, there are some crazies in every sport. And I'm like, dude, this is an opinionated sport. If that guy at the front only likes tap, then he's only going to mark certain things down, right? So I'm like, it's just these very intense environments. And, there's a couple of kids I know that absolutely are feared going out as solo artists. And we're trying to pump them back up now. Like, dude, it's okay. If you miss and something goes wrong, it doesn't affect who you are, right? You're totally fine. We've got a group dance going forward. You had an off day. It's not a big deal. And I don't even say off day anymore. I just say, it's all good. Did you learn something? Yeah, I should have done this better. I should have. Okay, well, if you're self-critiquing, then I've kind of done 50% of my job or 95% of my job. Like, if you're noticing that the technique was wrong, it's the same in soccer. Obviously, I don't teach dance, but same with soccer. You made a bad pass. I'm not going to call out the bad pass. I'm going to ask you, I think, oh, I missed this or whatever. All right, cool. Remember we talked about, in-step or out-step or whatever it was. And they're like, yeah. And, I talk about our players at the high school a lot. And one of them, the one that's going to Stanford, Ali, she's fantastic, explosive, game changer kind of player. And she looks at me in a few times where she shoots and she's like, fuck, yeah, you're right. I should have gone laces. I should have gone in-step. I should have. And now that's my job, right? It's like, how do I get you to change your thought process? How does it then could become subconscious? My bigger question is, how do we get that through when you've got 50 parents screaming at you?
Yeah.
Right? They feel like shit.
Do they even hear the parents, though?
They don't hear the parents until it goes wrong.
And then it's
right.
So they
if
have
everything's
the
going
self-doubt
right, you hear
creeps
the
in,
joy.
and then
Then it accelerates, right? Because I should have scored. I know better. I should have gone in step. I should have moved the keeper. I should whatever. They miss and they hear this, which is natural, right? And they hear this, should have done. Why didn't she? All right, easy. Number one, probably 99% of you would never have got in that position. 99% of you would never have got around that defender. 99% of you would never have put that on frame. 99% of you would never have hit the goalkeeper. So you're critiquing the person that hits the 1% bracket, and she is, right? She's a D1 committed player. So she's in the 0.1% that actually got into that position to make that happen.
Yep.
So start looking in the mirror, because you should have been going, don't worry about it next time, right? You know the mistake. You know where you can beat the player now. You've learned something going through this failure. It's not really a failure. It's a coaching moment. It's a process. Now we go again, right? So that to me is, how do you It's impossible. And you're going to see it this weekend at soccer. You're going to see it this weekend at baseball. You're going to see it at every sporting event. Instead of just going, and I know you guys at baseball don't you do a quiet game? Don't you do that once a year?
I wish
Or
we had a
did you?
quiet game. I think there was a league that tried it. It wasn't us.
I wasn't. I mean, I remember somebody telling me about it. Um, and then, yeah, they were like, totally different game
Yeah.
because there was no one pumping kids up. There was no one pulling kids down. It was just as the game's going, right? The game will be the game. However you cut and divide this thing, the game's the game. And the reaction, yeah, it's totally different. So it's going to be interesting for you because Davis is going to be fucking intense, as you know.
Well, the cool part is we get to go back to back weekends. So Lex will go up for a tournament that's planned, right? This is part of the 2 tournament cycle, and then Jackie will go up next week for State Cup, which will be we're treating it as a mini vacation, one-on-one with the kids, which is how it should be, right? We can spend that time. We can go there to support, and win or lose, we're cool, right? Just get better and have fun.
Yeah.
And we'll be better off for it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you just building blocks. It's building blocks, right? She's learning and growing all at the same time.
Yeah, it's opportunity for touch. It's an approach where she game style situation, but we're not applying any additional pressure. We just want her to be able to get the reps. And actually, like we mentioned this last week, but I want to go into detail here. Let's talk about getting reps. We had the game 2 weeks ago where our kids, right, we showed up, a 16-person roster, and we went and quarter by quarter getting girls into the game. Well, about 20 minutes left in game time, coach on the opposing team pulls the entire team off of the field because of his perceived a couple hard fouls. Right? They were called by the referee. Nobody was in physical danger, but it was a physical game, and his team did not like it. He didn't appreciate that it was physical, but you could tell from the time the game started until that last foul happened, something was going on. He was stewing. But then he just raises his hands and says, "Hey, I've seen enough. Girls, come off the field." As a coach, what would be the reason that you pull yourself off of there at all? And then if you're the opposing coach, how do you react to something as crazy as that happening?
I mean, to me, it's a difficult one. I would only do that if there was an actual violent situation, or a parent runs on, like something completely abstract that you don't normally see every game. If he feels that the kids were endangered, as in safe there, then fair enough. But it didn't sound like it was just a physical game, right? Was there any red cards? Was there anybody physically getting hurt?
They were playing within the game. There might have been a size mismatch on a couple, and you know how that kind of happens. You have 2 girls going for the ball. There's mass against mass, and somebody might be stronger, faster, bigger, and you have a collision. And in soccer, I mean, I'll admit I don't know the full rules. My takeaway is if you're making a play at the ball and make contact with the player before you make contact with the ball, that's a foul. If you make contact with the ball and then go through and into a player, it's nothing.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those incidental. I mean, it happened 2 or 3 times, but it just seemed like something else was stewing ahead of time where he used that as a reason to get off the field.
Yeah, I mean, that could be, again, right? Going back to the early conversation, could have 4 teams. This could be his worst team, right? Doesn't want to be there. Is pressed into doing X amount of tournaments and games per year. Could have had a blow up with the club. Could have had a blow up with one of the parents. There's so many if, buts, and maybes around why. It's very strange, though. I've not seen it for years, and probably maybe once in the last 20 years I've seen a team pulled. And generally it's because of, it's normally older kids, and it's normally for violent acts, and parents are just like, yeah, I'm done, dude. Nobody needs to get punched in the face for any of this crap.
And I've seen that before where a referee will just not have control of the game. 2 very aggressive teams, there's dangerous play, and they're not able to tamp it down. This wasn't the case. This was just, girls playing hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's also super disappointing. Like, I don't want to ask what team it is, but that's super disappointing because all you're doing is stealing the game away from the players, right? If it wasn't super violent and, or whatever, that's just stealing the game away from the players. And you go back to, unfortunately, again, I go money, 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 dude. Like, again, these coaches are maxed out. There's a load of shit going on in the background, and they're doing too much. They've got to do it, and they're just done. There a lot of coaches I know now are at breaking point. It's
And
just not
that's
healthy.
no, it's sad. But I mean, going back to the main point that we're trying to make is put the right metric in front of you of why you're out there.
Dude, I
So
talk
that
about this all the time. Such bull. Yeah, keep going.
no, just you're out there to have kids play soccer and get touches on the ball, get the experience. If that's your goal, it's like, all right, yeah, this is a hard game, right? Instruct the girls like, hey, they're playing a little bit more physical. So here's what we do when we're going against a more physical team. Because you're going to have those games where you're the most physical or the other team's the most physical, and you need to adapt. So it's a teaching moment.
Yeah.
Oh, do you need to get that?
No, the only person who gets through when I'm on focus mode is the wife. So
Oh, you're
here
busted
we
now,
go.
Brit. Sorry, there's only a few minutes left. But that's so, and then it took that opportunity from his team away. It also took it from our team away, who were trying to sit there and go through and learn. And the game was within a couple goals at the time. It's not like it was one of those 10-0 routes that it's like, oh, this is awful. Let's get out. We're outgunned.
Let's say it's stealing the game from the players, right? And I go back to the core of why some people coach and some people shouldn't coach. If you're doing it for the money, good for you, but you need to go on the collegiate path. And then from the collegiate path, you need to try and get to the pro path, right? And everybody starts somewhere. You're going to have to start. You've heard me say this before. I still don't understand why the best coaches are trying to coach the best teams. I do get it, obviously, to a certain point.
Yeah.
If you're coaching ECNL or anything like that, there's a regulation that you need to be a certain qualified coach. I get that, right? And I get that with a caveat because what they want is the highest level coaches, but the highest level coaches means you've been coached to coach 11v11, right? So you're keeping the level at a certain point that I know how to play against a 4-4-2 with my 4-3-3 or whatever, right? It's more tactical awareness to keep that level where it should be. I get that. For me, and my friends that I know in Europe doing this, a lot of them are at the foundation phase. And that is where the kids are raw, need technical awareness, and need all that training to get them to that next level. So I think we've got things a little bit flip-flopped around, but you can have both. Those, again, if you're in it for the money, you should be trying to do that foundation phase, ECNL, get to the pro level. If you're doing it for the love of the game, this guy obviously isn't because he's pulling kids off the field. Train, get better, win or lose, it's irrelevant. Did you do something good in the game? Yes, we did. What can we work on? We need to figure that out. No problem, blah, 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 right? Again, coming straight out of the high school season, we're there to win. So sorry, some kids didn't see a lot of game time, but our goal was to get to CCS final, which we did. So that means we're there to win it. But everybody signs up knowing this is a cut sport. If you don't make the team, I'm sorry, there is no place for you. You know that walking in. Unfortunately, there's lots of clubs in the area that will sign anyone with 2 legs and 2 arms. You've heard me say this before. And I also think there's a place for those players. Recreation. Team 5 that's playing just local tournaments or the bottom bracket and they're learning the game. Because we don't know by the time they're 12, 13, 14, they could love the game so much they spend 10,000 hours in their backyard and then they accelerate, right?
And
so just a balancing game.
There should be no league that doesn't want, let's say that positively, every league should want a kid to continue to play if they want to play. And there's a spot for that. And the expectations, as parents, we need to monitor that. Somebody coming in raw for their first year shouldn't expect to be playing and shouldn't want to play best of the best. Work your way up and get touches on the ball.
Yeah.
We talked about that all last season with all of our kids of if you had the opportunity to play on the best team, the team one, and you won every game, but you didn't play a single minute, or you played on the worst team, you played every single minute and lost every single game, which one would you choose?
Yeah.
And you see the wheels start spinning of, all right, I like winning. I heard winning's fun, but I don't get to play. So, all right, the wheels are spinning there. Now take that to the exact situation, which isn't that extreme. Get touches on the ball, get better every day. And if you see a goal that you want, if you personally, we don't want to set this for our kids. That's another topic I want to talk about. We don't set the goal for our kids to be on team one or to make the all-star team or to be a pro or anything like that. We set it, are you better than yourself yesterday?
Yep.
All right. If that's the goal and that's who you want to be, you want to improve, great. On the flip side, I won't mention the specific kid or kids in our families. They just want to go out there and play and have fun. And they might not want to put in that extra effort in the backyard right now because that's not important to them and who they are. They don't get that joy that we may have gotten when we were kids.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yep.
Because there's nothing worse than forcing it and them wanting to play for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I'll also say another thing that you do very well. You ask the coach. Well, let me say this two ways because I know the answer here. You tell your kids to ask the coach what I can work on, not you. You don't intervene, right? If you want to know something, put your big girl pants on or your big boy pants and go and ask the coach. They'll respect you way more. Hey, coach, what else can I work on? Whatever, right? Yeah. And one thing, again, that kind of ruins the sports for me in this country a little bit is the pay to play. Parents have a voice, and that voice gets in a lot of coaches' heads, and now players are moved around teams that I don't think is right.
Yep.
I think you have to deserve the chance to go and play in that team by showing, right? And I get really mad, and this one thing does really piss me off a lot, when parents complain, they go to coaches and they go to directors, whatever. But I'm like, hold on. I need to see you committed to your team too, and being the best player in team two, and committed to your team and your teammates in that team before we have the conversation about team one. And by the way, I'm not just going to invite one player from team two to team one. There's a group of you. There's 3 or 4 or whatever the number is. And the second team coach needs to be okay with, my job is to get you to the team one, the next level. We combine, we watch, we see if you're coachable, we see the position awareness, all these different variations that are needed. So I get really frustrated and angry and pissed off when I see players moved, which I don't think they really deserved, and deserves the wrong word, but the kids may be trying their ass really hard to get to that level. They're just not there. But then somebody intervenes and pushes them forwards. Dude, I have a real big issue with that. And I mean, it goes all the way to the collegiate level, right? The whole USC faking, the water polo players and all that bullshit. Right, dude, stay out the lane. Right? Like, parents, get the fuck out of the way. If they're not there right now, that's okay. Be okay with that. And they may never get there. It goes back to my opening phase. Those D1 players that we had at high school were always going to be D1 players. Doesn't matter what shirt they were wearing for their club. They would be spotted, guaranteed.
Yep. I think the first part of just advocating for yourself, there's signal in that. And we tell our kids all the time, if you want to know something, go ask. If you don't feel important enough for you to go ask, then it's not that important to you. I'm not going to go do it because it's not important to me. Right? We've made the decision as parents. It's important that you are giving maximum effort to anything that you're doing and improving against yourself. And if you want to be on the next team up or a starter on that team, go advocate for yourself and get feedback. And I think this, where we always come back to, is that feedback feels like a threat to too many people. If I tell you the reason you're not on this team or didn't get the promotion or anything else in between, you take that as, oh, I need to be defensive because that can't be true, right? That shatters my self-image of who I am, versus you mentioned coachability. Take the feedback, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, you take the feedback and say, what am I doing that makes that true? And what can I do that makes that false?
Well, dude, welcome to life, right? This is what I
100%.
think everything when we were kids was you did sport and it kind of set you up for the rest of your life. You're going to get hit, you're going to get knocked down, you got to get back, pick back up, you're going to have to run the extra lap, you're going to have to do the sprint, whatever, right? And now we're putting them in this fucking cotton ball wall of like, hey, it's okay. Like, we'll go and speak. And I do it with school, right? It's probably the same as you. When Chloe has an issue with a teacher or a test or catch up on homework, whatever that is, my dude, send an email. If that's how they communicate, that's their point. Keep sending. They don't reply. How many times do you send an email? Once? Well, dude,
Yep.
I mean, welcome to my world. I'm in
Send it
sales.
once
It
on
takes
Friday at 6 o'clock.
yeah, I'm like, welcome to my job. It's 12 touch points, maybe more, with a phone call and a text in between somewhere to try and get some form of communication back. Like, it doesn't happen after one sweep. So, when again, those education points through life, we're stealing, we're robbing it from the kids
Yeah.
because we feel they all should get to this D1 level. No, dude, let them fail and figure out. And as we know, the best players that do make that D1 have gone through hell and high water and still come out to be that top
Yep.
level player.
That's
Right. And we're
we
stealing, we're
need our
robbing it from the
kids.
kids.
We need our kids to struggle. And that's, I mean, talk about the struggle bubble. We
Yep.
need to prepare them with the tools to be able to struggle. We're here for them. We understand that it's not the most fun thing, but we can't rescue. And we can't put those we can't take away those opportunities, to your point, for them to advocate for themselves, be uncomfortable, and work through it. Because there is no
Well,
better feeling than having adversity and then working through it.
yeah, I mean, go to the extreme, right? Take the Lindsey Vonns, people like that have come back from major life-threatening injuries, right? Career-ending injuries, and still come back, right? And I always try, and I don't know the research on this. I'm spitballing with you, but I wonder how many people got serious injuries, had an issue with medication through coming back, and then never saw the field again because potentially them growing up, they were protected too hard. They didn't have to go through the hard things. So when they got a major issue, they just fell off the wagon. I'm sure the numbers are terrifying, to be honest with you. I know a lot of ex pros that one big injury, fell off the wagon,
Yeah.
and that's it. They never come back.
It's not even, I mean, injuries, absolutely. And then in addition, you're not going to be an athlete forever. And that kind of hits you in the face if your definition of self is I am a soccer player, I am a baseball player. Well, for the 0.1% of you that get a sniff at professional, congratulations. You've been able to do that. And then when you're our age, Craig, you hit your 40s, then who are you? Do people remember you for being that great teammate, always there for them, able to grind, and then want to hire you at that next job? And then for everybody else that doesn't make it pro, like, how are you defining yourself as a person? And can you overcome adversity? Do you have the grit? Do you have the grind? Those are the lessons that we're trying to teach. And I think we're missing a lot of those moments that we can, sharpen those skills.
Dude, you made the point. When I'm on that bike on the Peloton, it's fucking miserable. Right? But you're so hardened of like, I've got to get through this workout, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 44, whatever it is. You just grind through it. And you kick on a key point there, and I know we're going probably over now, but I'd love to, again, get some feedback from kids when they see us working out, what they think. Right? Because we're trying to show them a healthy lifestyle, eating, sleeping, working out, all those things. I'd love to see the reaction from the kids because my kids love it. I don't know if you saw that video on Instagram that Brittain posted, me trying to do ballet last week with the
I did.
thing.
I think I'm going to share it to the broader struggle bubble community because your flexibility.
So I'm like, I can do it. I got it. I got this. No problem, guys. Give me that TheraBand. I can do. I'm like,
my
dude.
favorite part is I don't know who the kids are in that studio that were walking by while you were trying, but they kind of looked at you like, "Are you going to hurt yourself? Like, should I talk to somebody about what's going to happen?"
Kids, but this is my whole point. Like, if I don't go and try it, and you don't, and again, I go back a little bit here to the 99% that didn't even get into that position to make that chance to take that shot, to miss the
Yeah.
shot. Dude, if I don't try what the kids are doing, right? Who am I to say that technique was incorrect or you need to do better at this? Like, I can't. Dude, my flexibility. I mean, these kids have got their legs up here, and I'm like somewhere, somewhere around here, and I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna work,
You
is
were
it?
able to get the rubber band around yourself, and that's all I really saw. Like you did make an attempt, but you hit on that awesome point of when our kids see us struggle, because they put you on a pedestal naturally. Mom, dad, you are the best ever, and then they see you struggle. They see your reaction. Do you give up? Do you blame something else? Do you shed that accountability? Like, oh, it's so and so's fault, or do you take it on? And we talk, I got back into weightlifting, shout out to my nephew and brother-in-law to, bring me back into weightlifting after 25 years of being out of it. It was flipping hard. The last time I lifted in college, I could do all of that. Now it's very humbling to go and say, I can't. So you bring that up to the kids like, well, oh, it's hard. And the feedback is, if it's not hard, you're not getting stronger. If I do 100 reps of air squats and it doesn't hurt, I'm not getting stronger. So that pain, that effort, that grind is when you're getting stronger. And we're trying to just change that mentality of effort over outcome. We've touched on this so much. I feel like a broken record, but you have to live it.
Yeah. Well, I hope some parents listen to this. And I know people do, right? People pingers and whatever. One comment before I get on that, Craig, the guy I went skiing with this year, said, yeah, if I'm not falling, I'm not trying. I'm like, well, yeah, my 42-year-old bones may say different, but yeah, I hear you.
That's a
But
podcast in and of itself. Two Craigs on a hill.
yeah, yeah, there's yeah, so
Craigs and eggs.
that's a whole different conversation. I actually got a text from Nate this week saying he had a proper, and he spelled it PROPA, Sunday lunch while he was in England. I said, Nate, it's Thursday, but it's okay. I hope and it said some parents are listening to us, and Nate being one of them. Like, we know that they don't shout at their kids now, or not now, but they don't shout at their kids while the game's going on. It's after the game. How was it? Did you have fun? Great. Score, whatever. Game's the game. What did you learn? What do you want to do tomorrow? You want to go get something to eat? Like, totally different mind frame.
That's been one of the most fun things of all of this is, of the people that are listening, it's that feedback of just having the conversation, because we're talking about this. And again, we're competitive individuals that are far from perfect, but having the dialogue that we're having is the most important thing, so that when you are in that moment, you can take that, reflection. I was at a baseball game over the weekend, not my own, just, watching 9, 10-year-old baseball, and a couple of the dads, same thing. Like, you know what? In a previous season, I would have probably screamed and I would have been in this moment. But, thinking about why we're here, the purpose, the perception that we're giving our kids, and the example that we're trying to lead. And the funniest part about that is, as we're having that conversation down the right field line, a play's happening on the field, and the third base coach is absolutely red in the face, screaming at the 9-year-old for not running down the third baseline. Like, we still have a lot of work to do. We should get some struggle bubble swag so that people tune in. So maybe we'll take a riff on that.
I don't know about the swag. I think we just need shock collars.
Well, it's frowned upon.
Yeah. Every time a parent says something stupid, we just shock them.
There's
no,
not enough
you're totally
electricity in the world. We might as well have a battery company at the same time.
No, it's interesting. Again, just talking from the high school experience, Lisa and I very low key, and the kids were like, wow. I'm like, well, guys, what am I going to do? The ref made a call, wrong or right. Me screaming doesn't do shit. The game's it's gonna happen, right? So relax, you guys on the bench. And I think also I actually thought about this through the season. Our bench got a lot calmer as we didn't make noise, right? So it starts to push into and relates to your players.
That's identity.
Your actions.
That is 100% identity and setting the tone. And we have it in baseball. I've seen it in soccer, where if you start jawing oh, that calls against us. But we had the kids were doing that this weekend, or they're
Yeah,
worried about the scoreboard. It's like, let's bring it back to the here and now. What can you
yeah.
do in this moment? Does that call change who you are as a soccer player? No. Does it define the other 89 minutes of the game? No. So let's deal with it. Let's get through it, and
Control the
go be
controllables.
an official. We talked about that last week too. You
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
so easy? Go stand out
yeah.
there yourself.
Control the controllables, man. Like we can control our bench, we can control our training environment, we can control all of those things. Like just go and make sure you do a good job there. And again, the game will fall out the way the game falls out. There's not a lot you can do about it. A kid woke up, felt a little bit sick. What can you do about that? There's nothing you can do. And they do the best they can in the situation. But again, you're going to lose that 9-year-old. The guy's face screamed at by the time he's 12, because who wants to be in that environment?
No.
Right? How many, we talk about quiet quitting in the workplace. How many people just walk away from managers that are assholes that they don't want to deal with for the rest of their life?
And you, at the beginning of every season, I had, with the Little League, I had made that point of, you don't know which moment is going to bring them back for another season or cause them to quit.
Yeah.
So you need to treat all of those moments the same way, with the same level of grace, so that you don't create a moment that is the reason. Because that coach might have screamed just one time, knowing the situation. Probably not. There's probably a lot of it. But even if his intention, which I don't think it is, his intention isn't to yell or be loud or to scare anybody. But that might be the only thing the kid remembers. Coach didn't make me feel good. I'm done. This is no good. Or, hey, after that game, when I thought I made the big error that cost our team, coach came over to me and said, shake it off. You played a fantastic game. I'm not worried about that at all. Thank you for your effort. And realizes, and just on that, we had a couple questions come in, or comments. There's a consistent theme of kids looking to their parents when they make a mistake.
Oh, dude.
It happens with some goalies that I'm seeing. It's happening with the baseball field and at bat, on the pitcher's mound, the eyes that just keep going. If you don't want your kid to do that every time, because it can happen for two reasons. One, they could be legitimately scared, right? They don't feel comfortable, and you're there smiling. That can calm them down. That's not the look that we're talking about. It's the mistakes of, oh man, I feel like I'm disappointing you. So you look over and like, am I disappointing you? I'm sorry. That's what I see in those sad puppy dog eyes. Yeah. Reinforce that you're proud of them and enjoy watching them play, period. If that's all you say.
100%. And the other thing that I think a lot of people miss, in exactly that mind frame of, how do you then support them? Right? Like, I fucked up. I'm looking at you. You're probably pissed, whatever. Like, that's the relationship you've built in those situations and environments. Just take a step back. All right, they fucked up here. How do I help? Right? Let's go in the backyard and throw that ball 10,000 times, the one you just missed, until that never happens again. But don't speak like that. Don't talk like that. It's just play. It's just play. Right? And I talk about it all the time in the dance situation, right? These dances and all the shit that my kids do. I'm like, anybody part of our studio that wants to go in and practice on their own, give me a call. I will open that studio up at any time of the day. You are more than welcome, and you can go and practice in that environment all the time. And that's what we're trying to grow and breed, right? Of feel comfortable being uncomfortable. And if we can get that, dude, you're winning all day long. All day long.
Don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You've got the trust network. And then when you want to get better, and that's when our kids come home and say, Dad, how do I get better at this situation? How do I get better at that? Then I can offer all of the guidance. But it's not, I've made it a goal. I am not going to talk about the game or even the practice, really, when I pick them up from practice in that car ride. Hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? Hey, let's go do this. Hey, I was thinking about this other thing today, completely unrelated, and take the entire stress of it away, because the more we hyper focus on the results driven culture, the worse they're going to perform.
Wow, dude, and I know we got to wrap up, but we can get into like my kids. This is Friday, and it will get they're missing school because of dance today. Okay.
Ooh, we don't have to admit that, Craig. We could have recorded after school.
But I hate that if they miss a test, they instantly go to an F. And we're trying to in the background as parents say, it's middle school. It is what it is. You got to make up that work. You still got to do it. Right? Still got to make it up. But I hate that we instantly punish them all the way to an F because they missed something. Like, dude, that's not the way the world works. Let me tell you, if I miss my credit card payment, I just get a fine. I don't get my credit history down to the fucking bottom. So why are we getting these kids instantly missing something and going to an F? Like, what are we doing to them psychologically with that?
This sounds like a great opportunity to make a call out. If you know an educator in the Santa Clara County that wants to be a guest in the Struggle Bubble, please reach out to Craig@thestrugglebubble.com.
No, don't reach out to me. Don't reach out. I don't want to talk about education. It's not my favorite.
Well, the one thing I want to talk about is who you're typing to while we're having this podcast, and is Brittain okay?
Yeah, just the crazy. It's crazy. We're at we're at a competition, and it's like all hair's on fire. Hopefully not on fire because we're using straightening irons. No, they are competing at their solos go on in an hour's time. So she is like, "Where are you?"
Well, let's use this opportunity to wrap up this episode of the Struggle Bubble. As always, you can find us on Instagram, the Struggle Bubble Pod, and all these videos are hosted on Spotify and YouTube. If you want to see Craig and I live and in living color. If you have a topic that you want to hear covered, please reach out to us. We're having a lot of fun. Hope you are too. See you next time.